everybody, and welcome to Danielle, the Happy Medium. For those who do not know me, you should be getting your notifications from YouTube now, so hopefully you can, I'm just getting into the link there, so hopefully you should be all here. Let me know how it sounds, let me know how it looks, you know, etc, 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 and then we can take it from there. So good evening to everybody who's just saying hi, or has just joined or whatever. I hope you can all I can't hear yous, but hopefully yous can hear me now. So give me a couple of, I might type in the box and all, because I've noticed that if I type in the box, it makes sometimes you all lot shut up. Hi to Kay, how's it sounding, Kay? Again, we have a delay as per usual. We always have a delay. Stephanie's here as well. Hello Stephanie, sweetheart, I hope you're well. Let me know how it sounds, ladies. Not too ringy or tingy or whatever it may be. Hopefully you'll tell us what it sounds like. So this evening, as you know, it is live Q&A over here. Fab decorating. Well, it's funny you should say that, Kay. I'm about to start decorating on Saturday now. I've got all sorts going on downstairs. Hi Denise as well, who's here. Thank you very much for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Like I say, tonight is live Q&A, so I'm open to answer any questions in which that you want to talk to me about in respect to the spirit world, your guides, your mediumship, you know, all these types of things, whatever it is that you want to talk to me about. No question is a stupid question. Hi to Donna Little as well, who's just joined. So nice. And Marcus is here as well. Hi, Marcus. I hope you're well. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. It's really nice to have you. Says everybody should be getting your notifications probably around about now. So evening to you all. I'm getting dead nifty at this YouTube malarkey. Proper nifty. I'm fairly good, like to a T and how I want it. So like I say, anything to talk about, not at the moment, apart from at the end of the month I'm out in Ireland doing a demonstration of mediumship. Ooh, that's new. We've been going on down. Do you like that, do you like that, Marcus? Yeah, you should have seen us. I'm going to carry on, man, trying to faff with that and do this and do that. You've got I've come a long way here on YouTube. I've got to be honest with you on that one, as you know. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. It's a pleasure to have you all here. But yeah, so at the end of the month I'm out in Ireland doing a demonstration of mediumship and also a workshop out there as well. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. There's a couple of my students joined as well, so nice to see you here as well. And what else was I going to say to you? Oh yes, and I have a workshop going on in Saltburn, which is all connected to guides. So good evening everybody. I hope you is all well, and I hope you are all keeping okay. It's a pleasure to have you all here with me over here on YouTube. So like I say, any questions you have, all the good YouTubes have a wee flat bit at the bottom. How many do you watch, like Marcus? Do you watch a few? I bet you do, you know. Well, it's part of like the looking forward to seeing you next month. I look forward to seeing you out there in Ireland. I'm very excited. I was just talking to some of the Ireland lot this afternoon, later on this afternoon, helping a few of them out there with some questions and whatnot, and one of the girls wanted to do a little bit more privacy with one of hers, so I've helped her as much as I can, like get out there. I've done what I can as a teacher. I kind of do now, nothing else to like get out there apart from get you into a good place, and then I'll sort the rest of it out when I get out there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you all. It's a pleasure. My first mentorship program in Ireland, and I'm really chuffed actually. It's busy. There's a lot of you. They're a good bunch as well at Irish lot. I love you lot out there. I love you as much as I love my Scottish lot. I like my English lot and all, you know what I mean? I like us all. But I'm really looking forward to being out there, and I'm really just looking forward to spend some quality time with you all. I do laugh at I watch some strange stuff on YouTube. My curiosity mind falls down the rabbit hole. Yeah, I call that the dark side of YouTube there, Marcus. I've got to be honest with you. That's what I call it, the dark side. You can sort of get like a little sort of off track and end up somewhere completely different where you first started out. I've got to be honest with you, because you sort of like follow on from videos or something else sort of catches your eye or whatever it may be. But yeah, I've got to be honest with you on that one. So like I say, I'm here to answer your questions this evening on mediumship. Let me start straight off the bat. So let's take the island question that I had this evening. So this evening there was a lovely lady from one of my Irish group who was asking me a little bit more about how the spirit world were coming too close, or how the spirit world were overwhelming her. And what I said to her is what I will say to a lot of you out there in the industry: there has to be some sort of self-discipline. And when we're doing mediumship, lots and lots of us think that mediumship is just the development of the practical side of it, so it's linked into the spirit world, giving the messages from the spirit world, you know, doing all of these sorts of things. What you have to understand as well is that it's not always just about the practical side of mediumship. There is what I call 3 bits of mediumship. So there's the looking at you, which is your positive affirmance, you're sitting in the power, understanding you and your energy. Then there's your natural ability with the spirit world, so that's like sitting for the spirit world, sitting for your team, looking for your guides, taking knowledge from them. You know, as a lot of you know, I'm spirit trained, which means I was self-developed by myself and with the spirit world, and I've taken some theory throughout, like obviously my mediumship. So there's 3 different elements, and what can happen is if one element is not in complete line, you can sort of be a little bit off center. And lots and lots of people do lots and lots of what I'll call practical development, which we need, because it's good to understand the mechanics and the theory and how we're linked to the spirit world, why we're linked to the spirit world. But a lot of people miss out on the sitting in the power techniques, or understanding you that little bit better in order for that mediumship to take its natural progression. We have to understand that mediumship is a natural thing, and mediumship is very, you know, focused in respect of. A lot of mediumship now is focused on development, massive amounts of development, training, and I've talked about this a lot here on my YouTube channel. But I don't see a lot of self-development, or I don't see enough of it. I've got to be honest with you. With, you know, getting our mediums into a good place, which is what I call the instrument, as the spirit world calls, but we're instruments. Now, if that instrument's not playing right, your mediumship's not going to be playing right, because ultimately you are the instrument, and the spirit world need this instrument to be as finely tuned as possible in order to be able to give the best communications. Now, we have to, as they say, you know, yes, of course, mediumship is of the mind, I agree with that, but if this mind's not in a good place, i.e. with fear in it, or it hasn't had enough self-development of understanding you and knowing you and who you are as a person, also if you haven't sort of had that interaction with the spirit world or spirit guides, or, you know, just seeing what the spirit world has to offer, then all this development is great and it's good and it's fine, but your mind, your conscious mind's going to fear it, because it doesn't know any different. And self-development, sitting in the power, which I've done for years, as many of you know, and I've played games with Chief and, you know, all these types of things. I've spoke about it many times here on the channel and on Facebook, to be honest with you. And a lot of my first year and a half, 2 years, was just sitting for the spirit world, was just developing that mediumship and developing that relationship with the spirit world. So I have to be very honest, when people come to me about the spirit world's pushing upon them, it's all too much, it's because, one, you don't have enough discipline in the mind, and there hasn't been enough self-development in order for your mind to not be fearful of what the spirit world's trying to bring in there. So there's a little bit of a hint and tip for people who are maybe, who can't, and this is another thing what you can also understand and appreciate here, is that you can develop without paying the money. Do you understand that? You can actually, if you put the time in and actually put the work in, you can develop and take your mediumship to the next level on your own, if you truly trust and believe in your ability and within you as a person, which is what I did in the beginning. And like I've said before, and I'll say it again, I've had very little what I would call practical training. I've had odds and ends, and, you know, but nothing what I would call major, like, development or physical development, because all my developments come from the spirit world. So I find it the spirit world, and I speak about this all the time, the guides that we find in the spirit world are very knowledgeable people. They've been doing mediumship. I mean, mediumship being done since Pussy was a kid. It's a natural thing. So it would make natural sense that the people who are guiding you, or the people who have been given to you from the spirit world, are going to have all this knowledge in here to help you move forward and help you, you know, do the things that you need to do for the spiritual world. Yes, we do need to sometimes take some human interaction. We need, you know, their skill sets, or some of their skill sets, because remember, it's not all going to fit with you, not all of it. But yeah, we can always take hints and tips, and sharing knowledge is always helpful for, you know, anybody who's sitting out there and for anybody who wants to learn and develop. But always remember to make sure you're doing as much of the natural development, as much of the sitting as humanly possible for you, which then in turn gets you your guides, which then in turn gets you the knowledge from the spirit world. What kind of games did you play with Big Chief? Big Chief. How are you now? He's big anyway. He is kind of big actually. When we first started out, the first one we used to do was the one which is the one where I used for finding the guides, which it used to be Chief used to step in, step out. So I used to become aware, I was aware of energy, and I'm going to be doing it in the power technique for this one. Then after that, you started bringing in ones where I did it was a sitting in the power technique in the meditation group on Facebook, which was he would show me different things. So he would show me an apple, and then he would show me a banana, and then he would say which one's which, or where is this one, or where's that one. And through that come like focus. So I had to focus on one particular thing, and I wasn't allowed to move my mind from that particular object that he'd given us. Then he used to stand side to side, and he would speak words. So sometimes I would hear them sort of in my mind, and other times I would hear them as if he was talking to me. So they were just some of the games. Then I used to like bring like different sort of smells in, or different sort of how can I put it? It was that was an awareness one. So like building that clairvoyance with the smells. So different sort of because the spirit world's very clued up, they're very clever. They can bring all of them things into your development to help you move forward. But they're just some of the games that me and Chief used to play. Then me and Chief, I used to say to Chief, send me a penny, but it had to be upside down by Tuesday. And the penny would turn up, and like, or send me the penny and, you know, put it here or put it there. And within days it would turn up. And that's the great beauty about the spirit world. They're very, very easy, or very, very clued up, or very good at being, it is fun. And that's the good thing we're learning with the spirit world as well. It is really, really fun. They have wacky personalities. I mean, Chief's really wacky, right? He's funny, he's eccentric, but he's also got a real calmness about him as well, and he's got a real sort of delicateness about him. But he's also incredibly, like, he's a bit like me actually, a bit wacky, a bit weird and wonderful, you know what I mean? But he's very, very good at being able to get things into my mind without too much of a fight with my mind. Because what guides are very clued up and very clever with is they know where your mind is. They know what's going to work with your mind and what's not. And they're going to adapt that training in order so that it works and comes into your mind in the best way possible. For example, we can go to many different teachers, and while they may be some of the best in the business and they've earned, you know, exceptionally good things, and I'm not saying any differently about that, what we can understand is that sometimes them teachers aren't the right teachers for us, or they don't sort of work with our sort of personality the way that we work with our personality. So but guides already know your personality, they already know where your mind is, they already know how much your mind's going to be able to take and how much it's not, because they are spirit, they come from spirit, and they were given to you by the spirit world. And it's sort of like an insultant of the spirit world, and an insultant of the intelligence in which that we talk about so readily in the industry, and also across many faceted platforms, that the intelligence of the spirit world, the intelligence of the evidence. So why would they not have the intelligence to know what guides to send in order to work with your mind to the best of its ability? The intelligence of the spirit world, they've been training their mediums for, you know, many, many years. They have clued up knowledge on how they can work with minds, because ultimately they are spirit and they give communication. So if I work with the concept that the guides are like that, then all the knowledge is there for you, just like all the knowledge is there for you when you're taking a communication. I cannot understand how it's all there for a communication, but then it's not there for a guide. It doesn't make sense. Does that make sense? And when something, my nana always told me, my nana Patsy, when I was a kid, Danielle, if something doesn't make sense, pet, it's a lie. So I cannot understand why, if all these spirits and these people can do these communications, then surely they've got to be able to teach the guides and all. Does that make sense? Marcus, remember to smash the like button. Well, thank you, Marcus, on the feature section and more exposure. Well, thank you very much for that, Marcus. Well, you heard Marcus. He says smash the like button. So please do hit this button and this video and give it a like. Pat Smith, all your videos are very helpful and very interesting. Well, thank you very much for that there, Pat. I'm very grateful to you for that. Evening to everybody saying who's just come along, and nice to see you all here, and nice to have you with me here as well. Pat saying, hiya Danielle, love the talk you did this afternoon about the loved ones gone too soon. Gina, I gotta be honest with you, like on that one, I was a little nervous, right? I was a little nervous because it's a very gentle subject. It's a subject that, you know, it's very upsetting for the people. And this is what I said to my lot when I went to them this morning. I said, look, I says, we're gonna have to be really careful how we do this, because we didn't want to be upsetting people, and we didn't want to be doing this, we didn't want to be doing that, because we have to remember that, you know, for a lot of people that never really does leave, you know, when people go over to the spirit world and that. And he brought it to me in such a great way. You know what I mean? All this knowledge that's on here, I'll be honest with you, is the spirit world. There is bits and pieces that I picked up along the way when I did a couple of the 2 residential courses and a workshop. Well, the workshop doesn't even come into it, the 2 residential courses, and it was just hints and tips that I took from there, which helped me to look at my mediumship a little bit differently. But the actual knowledge is actually from the spirit world, and I tend to go to the spirit world and I tend to ask the spirit world for their advice and guidance in order so that what you are getting is the best of the best, if that makes sense. You know, I like to share knowledge. I certainly do like to make sure that everybody's singing from the same page, and I hope that they do make sense to people. Well, I hope they do. I don't know if they do, but I hope they do. I can only give it from my perspective. You know, YouTube, as you know, was only ever a hobby for me. It was never something to be making a major platform from or making money from or out like that. It was a place where I wanted people to be able to come and to be able to get that knowledge, to be able for free. Because I found for a lot of people, and even as a trainer and a teacher myself and a mentor, I find a lot of people don't have the money. A lot of people can't get the workshops. A lot of people can't get the residential courses, whatever it may be. You know, so it's a struggle out there, and at least over here you've got somewhere to go, or people's got somewhere to turn to. You know, a lot of people come to me and ask me questions like, well, how long, for example, there's a girl just been in the inbox on the Facebook page, Danielle, can you tell me what, you know, how long it takes for a loved one to come through? Well, it's as soon as that loved one wants to come through, they can come through straight away. You could have to wait 25 years and all, do you know what I mean? It's entirely up to them when they're ready to come, and as long as the medium's mind's open enough for it, then there's no issue or problem with it. But sometimes you might have to go out and pay for that information, or you might not know where to get that information from. So that was the whole idea of the YouTube channel, and it was to help my students who can't afford to pay for the training. I mean, not that I charge a lot for my training, because I didn't, because I like to train. I didn't train for the money. I train because I genuinely want to see good mediumship. I genuinely want to see a difference in the mediumship movement. I genuinely want to see people move forward. That's what I genuinely want to see. You know, I've always said it. Most of you will know me. Anybody who's been watching me for a good while. I'm not really a big money orientated woman. You know what I mean? I've spruced stuff up a little bit over here. You know what I mean? Because obviously I've had to, but nothing that is so flash. Just because it was important that, you know, you sort of keep with the times type of thing. But I really, really wanted to make sure that it was affordable and it was for everybody, because I work with a lot of people who are working class people. They're short on cash, but yet they've got all these abilities, but they're not really into churches, or they didn't really want to go into churches, or they're frightened of churches, or whatever. Because of stuff, I lost my son 10 weeks ago, and you gave me a lot of comfort assurance about the spirit world. He was only saying, well, do you know what it is, Pat? Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for, you know, it was actually, I've got a new guide working with me in a minute. A nice fella he is. And it was actually him who gave us the knowledge. So, you know, and that was why I was a little nervous, because had it come from truth, I wouldn't even probably second guessed it. But I have to give this guy a chance. I have to give him an opportunity to prove himself. So, do you know what it is, Pat? I wanna thank you for that, like, because you've not only thanked me, you've not only assured me that this guy is doing a good job, but you've also assured me, you know, that coming from somebody who's lost their son 10 weeks ago, that it makes sense to you. And you know, a lot of people get very, very confused, and I see a lot of stuff going on out in the industry there, Pat, with connections to that particular subject topic, where people complain and talk about them stuck, and this is going on and that's going on, and none of it's true, you know. It's not, and it's such a shame, because I see so many of you get like really, really frightened, and for me personally, for my son, you know, if I would hate to think, you know, that my son was stuck between two worlds. Do you know what I mean? I would be absolutely devastated. I'd be frightened to think that that was the case with my nana, and you know, we need to be more careful and very more aware of what we're saying, and especially, I mean, I don't know if I should say this, but I was in a spiritualist group yesterday over on Facebook, and I got to be honest with you, it's like there was some stuff going on in there. There was a fella in there saying that the spirit world had taken over him, like possession, you know, and that gets me back, right? It does. It annoys me. It gets me going up. It does, right? It gets me back up because it's a lack of understanding of the spirit world, first and foremost. If you understand the spirit world, or you understand energy as much as I do, and as lots of other mediums out there do, I'm not saying I'm the only one that knows this information, because I'm not. There's lots of people out there who understand this, but there's some people who don't. So anyway, as I say, this fella was talking about possession, and this soul had took over his soul, and he was dancing round the front room with this soul on his back, right? Well, that annoys me, and I'll tell you why it annoys me. Because one, it's not possible, because your body's only capable of housing one soul, right? One bit of energy. That's all it is, which is your soul. Nothing can get in there, and nothing can get out of there until you decide to go, until it's your time to go back home, right? So there's no way that is even remotely possible. So the idea of possession is completely out of the equation. But then he was talking about this thing that was on his back, and this, that, and the other. And again, what we have to understand here is that intention and our energy is only bought. Our energy, it doesn't belong to Pat, it doesn't belong to Marcus, it doesn't belong to Kerry. Your energy only belongs to you. Nobody can touch your energy. Nobody can have your energy unless you give it attention, or you give it some kind of thought. So I've got to be honest, I don't normally, I see a lot going in them groups, and I don't normally get involved. I normally just step back and just watch and just see what's going on. But it had me annoyed, like, I've got to be honest. In fact, to be fair, I was foaming, right? I was kind of foaming, because I thought it's a massive lack of understanding. Well, I'm not joking here. When I said that, the whole flaming group, I think, piled on us, because they were talking about the bloody dark night of the soul, and they were talking about, and I thought, this is just, it's such a shame, and it's like a lack of understanding. Ginger, does that get you? Do you know what it is, Ginger? Honestly, right, I don't normally get involved, I've got to be honest with you, right? But I just looked at this yesterday, and I thought, what a load of tosh, right? That's what I thought, what a load of tosh. And there must have been about 50 or 60 people commenting, all new people, right? So I did no more and go, this is impossible. And I tried to explain, but it's, and eventually went to Chief. I says, why don't they get it, Chief? He says, because there's, hello Marie, darling. He says, because you can only influence the minds that want to be influenced. And the minds there don't want to accept that it could be done a different way. And unfortunately, there was 50 people in that group, all banging on about the same thing, about the dark night of the soul, and how this is attached, and how some woman told us I had to put some bloody grounding down and protection up, and we're talking about demons and everything, and you say that kind of stuff, just, it gets my back up and all, that gets me back right up and all. It's just, what we're talking about, we just joined, it's just, we're talking about, I was in a group, Deb, yesterday, and they were talking about like demons and that. Well, that gets me back up and all, because what happens is you're scaremongering people, and that's what I said to him. I said, you're scaremongering people, you're frightening people, you are giving off a bad interpretation of the spirit world, you're giving off a bad reputation of the spirit world, and the spirit world's blamed for loads of stuff, you know, that they're not even doing. Honestly, they're blamed for all sorts of things that they're just not doing, and a lot of it is fear. A lot of mediums are full of fear, and they won't accept that they've got it wrong, and it's easier because the spirit world can't answer back. Yeah, it's grounding more, not used to. You shouldn't need to ground yourself, Marcus. There's no real reason to. But let me finish up, and then I'll come to that question, because ultimately what's happening is they're blaming the spirit world, but the spirit world can't turn around and go, well, that's not us. That's not us. That's not even about the dark night of the soul is about. Well, I got the impression, I'll be honest with you, Ginger, the dark night of the soul was shadow work, was the impression that I got from it, which is a human concept. It's got absolutely nothing to do with the spiritual world. Shadow work is where we look at the shadow side of us. So we all have a positive side, and we all have a side that can maybe be a bit negative, or can maybe do things that are manipulating, you know, these types of things, right? That's what I assumed. Correct me if I'm wrong there, like Ginger, if you didn't mind. The dark night of the soul, that's exactly what it is. It's shadow work. But anyway, these fellas going, the spirit world's doing this, the spirit world's doing, and honestly, that's right, that's what I thought it was. I thought dark night of the soul is shadow work, the shadow side of you, the sides of you that needs more learning, needs more understanding, compassion, or not to keep repeating and doing things the same way you've always done them. So I'm not joking, right? When I'm passionate, and I am passionate about the spirit world, as you know, when I seen him banging on about that, well, I just set myself away. I've got to be honest, right? I did not set myself away. But eventually, I had the whole group to turn on us. And I just come away from that group, and I said to my people, I says, I'm disappointed, and they said, but you can't change the minds that don't want to be changed. But I says, I know, I says, but they're going out there and they're doing all of that stuff, and he says, you can only teach the minds that want to be teachers. You can't teach the minds that don't want to be told. So I was a little disappointed in that, and at the finish, I had to come away, because it was as if it wasn't knocking on wood, but it was like they just didn't get it. They wanted to blame the spirit world and say it was all the spirit world, but really it wasn't the spirit world. Basically, he's full of fear, but he wouldn't have it, and neither would the rest of them in there, and all that type of thing. So what can you do? I think I've got a big shadow side. Debbie, we've all got a shadow side, didn't worry about it. So any questions from you, lovely knots? So Marie's in, so hiya Marie, darling. Pat's in, sounds like he was seeking attention. Probably, Pat, probably. What we're talking about now, anything you want to talk about, Deb. So if you've got some questions for me in respect of your development, any sort of knowledge, I'll do my best to answer it from the spirit world. So I will ask the spirit world, and I'll certainly get you the answers from them, and see how it is that you perceive their speaking and their talking. I'll give you sort of my hints and tips as well, or some knowledge that I've maybe picked up along the way as well. So the floor is now open to you, lovely love. And again, for all those who would like to, please do like the video, because according to Marcus, it helps the video get out there or something. So if you'd be so kind as to like the video as well, I'd be very, very grateful. I'm going to have a mouthful of this tea while you are typing. I've run out actually. And I'm going to open that window because it's a bit warm, just while you're not typing away there. Because my fritters is out, you know, and I don't want them out there too long in the dickety dark, because it is dick dark. You can see the autumn's on its way, because it's what, 8 o'clock, 8:30, and it's pitch black here in the northeast, and the wind's blowing like you wouldn't believe. So any questions from you, lovely lot? Anything? Because then I can like draw them on the board. I do like to draw on the board, you know. Let's have a look, see if I've missed anything while I've been jabbering, you know, because I do like to jab it. Everybody's just saying hi, so hi to everybody who's just saying hi. Let's have a look. Grounding is alright. So Mark has asked me a question of grounding, right? So grounding is more for yourself, get yourself back in alignment. Right, so grounding is basically an opportunity for you to sort of, I love the drawings, but give us some questions, Marie, and I'll see what I can do with the drawings. Grounding is basically what we call an intention. So your visualization of, loads of questions. Don't know where to start. I've never had a reading that convinces me. But I do not believe. What do I need to do? Connected guides. Right. Hold up, Deb. I'll get to you in a minute. So, with connections to how do you find your guides, and will it take time to set the power? Right. I'll get all you in a minute. Let me do Marcus first. So grounding, what you have to remember is a visualization. So it's an intention-based thing again. So your intention is to release the energy, release this intention, put to ground, putting roots down. But really, what all you're doing is within your mind. All you're doing is saying, I'm just releasing, I'm just letting stuff go. I'm within my mind, because you have to remember everything is stored within the mind. So when you are doing things, or when things have happened, it's stored within the mind. So it's memories that you're trying to release. So really all grounding is doing is you're telling the mind to relax. You're telling the mind you're letting go. You're telling the mind to release. That's all it is. You're just putting the intention to letting go. But we put like grounding, so again you're putting labels to it, or we've got to put visualizations with roots and things like that. It's just where you're saying to the mind, where you're putting a different intention. That's all it is. So I hope that brings you back in alignment. The only thing that's going to bring you back into alignment is sitting in the power of meditation, because they're the only things that can align you, because you are in control of your energy, which aligns the mind to become quiet. Once the mind becomes quiet, you're able to listen to your soul and what it needs in order for you to put it back to normal. It's like I see people talk about clearing chakras and pulling stuff out of chakras, and I shouldn't laugh you now, but I can't help it sometimes. The taking chakras out. I've seen that and all. Do you realise if you take chakras out, not like you can, what will happen is you'll die. Do you know why? Because you need the chakra system in order to be able. What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? Then that's funny.
No, I didn't mean to creep up on you. I just didn't want to disturb you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you could pause.
I need to speak to you anyway. Go away, 'cause I need to speak to you.
Yeah. I didn't mean to do it. Sorry.
Sorry, that was the daughter. I knew there was somebody there. I could feel somebody was there standing behind us. I could feel it. I usually don't use that or laugh. So anyway, getting back to where I was with, I've totally lost my trail of thought. Right. Hold on till I find the trail of thought. Because the chair's completely thrown me. Right, so grounding, that's right, so alignment. So you're putting... I knew somebody was there, but I wasn't quite sure who was there. I wasn't sure, because I could hear the door, but I thought it was the wind, and then I realised there was somebody there. So anyway, when you're meditating or when you're sitting in the power, that's changing the mind, so it's reprogramming the mind to be more aligned, to be more quiet, which then allows you to become aware of what your soul needs to tell you in order to do the shadow work, to let go, which the grounding is, because that's the intention in which that you're putting to it. I hope that makes sense to you there, Marcus. Deb's saying to me, yes, I have loads of questions, but I don't know where to start. I've never had a reading that convinces me, but I don't not believe. What do I do to need to connect with guides? Right. Well, the first thing you need to do before you even connect to any guides is have some intention. So when you are doing intention, you're intentionally putting out to the spirit. That's right. Thank you very much, Ginger. Keep me right there. I'll get back to that. Before you even start looking for guides, or before you even, start thinking about them types of things, you've got to be aware of yourself, which means you've got to sit in the power or do your meditations to become self-aware of your own energy, because you can't expect something to be able to blend with your mind if you do not understand your energy enough. So sitting in the power or meditations will help with that. Then once we've got all of that in place, then you put the intention out, and then you start sitting for the guides. But you have to do the self-development first. You need to understand who you are before you can even start and think about inviting guides in, or understanding guides' energy and all that type of thing. And that there is quite off-putting for a lot of people, Deb. A lot of people will back out because nothing's going on, and it can take weeks of self-development and take weeks for them guides to step in. Other people can have it done straight away, and lots of people can sort of have lots and lots of things that need time to look over, or things that need to be developed in order so that eventually they can then step in. But the mind has to be in the right place in order to allow that and things going. Otherwise, if you're trying to invite guides in when your mind's still full of fear, all that's going to happen is your conscious mind's going to go, no thank you, I don't like that, go away. So I hope that answers the question. With connections to your readings, or connections to, I have to ask the question first and foremost, that you say you do not believe, but you have to also accept and understand that there could also be a concept of you only want what you want. And sometimes when we get readings, it's not always about what we want, it's about what's best for you. And the spirit world, again, if you use the intelligence of the spirit world, yes, I'd agree, Marie, it is, self-development is massively important with the mediumship, massive. And that's why I took a full year and a half just to develop me and my mediumship. I wasn't even sitting, I wasn't doing none of it. And then it just took off like that. And people don't realise how important self-development is. But with connections to your reading, what you have to understand again is for using the intelligence of the spirit world, they deliver what you need, not what you want. And in life, especially when we're going to the spirit world, we always get what we need, not what we think we want or what we haven't, what we are intendingly thinking we need. The spirit world think, no, you need something completely different. Because long term, with the intelligence of the spirit world, they know you better than anybody. So I hope that answers your question a little bit for you there. Marcus is saying there's Big Chief, a Red Indian. I couldn't tell you that, Marcus, unfortunately. How do you find out who your guide is, and will it take time to set the power? Again, I can never tell anybody who their guide is, because their guide is their responsibility. But what I can say to you, and what I can do, is say that by sitting in the power, I've got a guide collection in the YouTube channel called Collecting to Guides Easy. Check it out, Linda. Alright, also, like I said to you, Linda's one of my island girls. What I will say to you is 2 times daily, 10 minutes, no more, will get you into a habit. What happens is what you do is when you start sitting regular for the spirit world, what happens is the spirit world become aware that you're sitting. And this is what I say to all my students, and I'll say this to anybody. You want to give communications, you're asking the spirit world to turn up time and time and time again, right? But yet you kind of give the spirit world 10 minutes of your time. It's a bit of a cheat, that, really, isn't it? You're expecting them to turn up for dams and readings and whatever it may be. But you as the medium or the development medium can't give up 10 minutes of your time to sit for the spirit world. And what happens is once you start giving up them 10 minutes, they become regular, so they start turning up all of the time, so they get used to you sitting. And what they're doing, even though nothing's going on, and this is where people fall down, just because nothing's going on, and just because you don't say anything, or just because you don't get anything, right, doesn't mean to say there's not stuff going on in the background. Because behind the back of that self-development is a development of a guide. Is a development of a guide, is a development of the mediumship, is a development of the communications. And what people don't understand is once they start doing the self-development, and then they do the mediumship development, when you come to work with the guides, what guides teach is communications, how to do communications. So when we're talking to the spirit world, like when I'm talking to Chief, for example, right, it's like I'm having a convo with Chief. And what I do is then when I'm doing my expectations stuff, the communications too, right, yes, exactly. What you need to understand is that when you're doing your community, when you're talking to the spirit world, what you're doing of working with them guides, you're building your relationship with the spirit world. As you build that relationship, you're building a communication. You're then getting ready. Then you're getting ready to be able to do communications with the spirit world. If you can't work with a guide and you can't do them communications with a guide, then how on earth do you expect to be able to communicate with the spirit world? Do you understand that? So having these guides in place is really, really important. Couple that with the self-development, couple that with learning about who you are and your energy. You've done all that, and yeah, it might take you a year, but you know what it is? It'll be the best year of your life, because you can't get that from a teacher. You can't go into a school and do that. It's got to be something you do yourself. And this is what you're doing. You also, when you're doing that self-development, you're building that trust with the spirit world. You're building that relationship. It's like say for example, out of now, you meet a fella for the first time, and you go out on a few dates, and you start then going out for a meal, and you know the relationship's been going 2 or 3 months. Then you decide you're going to take it to the next level. Do you know what I mean? And start sleeping together and that, and all the rest of it. Then you decide you're doing the line. We're thinking about getting engaged. It's exactly the same with a guide. Just obviously you don't get engaged, and you don't sleep with them and that, But what I'm trying to get at. You're building a relationship. What happens when you build a relationship with somebody, whether it be a friend, a fella, whatever it may be? You trust them, don't you? You believe in them. And that's the spirit world. And that's what self-development will do for you. That's what learning to sit in the power and all them types of things will do for you. You cannot buy that in a workshop. You cannot buy that on a residential course. You cannot buy that on a workshop. You've got to do it yourself. And that's what people don't get. People think that if they go to workshops and they do this and they do that, that they're going to get that. You can't. You've got to do it yourself. Because nobody can bring them guides in but you. Nobody can do that development but you. You can take hints and tips and question me and all the rest of it, but I can't sit you down and say, you've got to want to do it. You've got to want to have that drive for it. You've got to want to be the best demonstrator you've got to be. You've got to want to be a server for the spirit world. because that's what you are. You're a server. You're an ambassador for them. And if you're not prepared to put the graft in, why should they put the graft in? Do you understand? It's a two-way street here. It's like you're being in a relationship with a friend and you're putting all the effort in, your friend's putting in. You're paying for everything and this friend's paying for nothing. It's the same with the spirit world. If the spirit world's putting all the effort in and you're doing nothing and expecting it all to be handed if you want to play it, then the results will never be what you want them to be. If you're dedicated and you give that time, they will turn up. And as you turn up, they turn up. And the more you turn up, the more they turn up. And we say because people don't get instant results, they're like, I don't want this, I'll just stand here and I'll do it for now. Or do it and pay all this money. So bear this all in mind, okay? Let's have a look. You know, I'm passionate about that side of mediumship and it's just not developed enough. Really, really not developed enough. No, I don't not believe, even though nothing has convinced me there's a spirit world. I'd love to be convinced 100%. Debbie, there's always an element of you being convinced, and you'll never be convinced 100%, no matter what. You know, you will always find some sort of flaw, and it's about where you sit within that. You know, we can all pull some kind of mediumship to bits. We can all say this wasn't a good demonstration, or that wasn't a good sitting, or whatever. It's how much comfort you get from it. Do you understand that? And unless you must be quite a facts and figures kind of person. I wouldn't know without doing a sitting, Debbie, but in all honesty, you'll never get it 100% convince you 100%. Then you have to ask yourself what would convince you, what would make it completely real for you. Is the spirit world involved in psychometry, or is there something else? Psychometry is an ability to be able to take an object. So there's penny. Okay, I don't think I can say that. The penny has memories, so I talk about this quite a lot here on the earth plane. So everything within the walking world is energy based. It has an ability to hold memories. A house in which where there's been issues or problems, they will hold memories. Even if it was a loving home, it'll have memories in it. Everything is energy. Therefore, this penny had to be made by a machine, which was run by energy, which is then created by metal, which was dug from a ground or whatever. So this has memories. And if I was psychometry is where you put something in your hand and you read it, and it can tell you the memories of who built it, where it was built. It's a psychic ability. That's what it is. It's an ability to be able to look inside of this and the memories that sit within it, of the energy, to be able to tell me all about who made this pen. So I hope that makes sense. Mark was saying, did it get a fright? No, I just knew somebody was there. I knew somebody was stood behind us. Right, the chakras, that's right. So you can't take chakras out. That's someone else is saying them spiritual groups. You can't take chakras out. If you take chakras out, right, you'll die. We need the energy system in order to be able to live. If you haven't got the energy system, then you can't live. It's as simple as that. So nobody can take these chakras out. Nobody can block them but you. And blocking them is through the mind, thinking negatively, thinking over negative emotions, problems that you may have, things that have happened to you, not letting things go will block the chakra system. It could also take it out of line. This goes back to Marcus's question before about alignment and grounding. Again, meditation, sitting in the power will realign the mind, which realigns the energy system. So I hope that answers your question there. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. Marie's here. I have been self-developing for a long time. Yes, Marie. Marie's also one of my girls. Donna's saying, why can't mediums do a reading for themselves? Our ability is not for us. The ability is only to help others. Our ability is to serve the spirit world. It's to give back. It is never for us. It is never something that, if you're wanting to be a medium so that you can take readings or connect to your loved ones in the spirit world, I've got to be honest, right, as much as my Nana Patsy, my son and everything's over there, you know, I only see me Nana on that Christmas, birthdays, you know, special occasions, and if there's something seriously wrong. Sometimes and even then I can't completely get everything I want from it. Does that make sense? So it's only, you're only meant to do readings, or readings are only done for ex-partner. It's not for you. It's your ability isn't for you to gain something from it. If you're trying to do mediumship for them reasons, it's not going to work for you. You've got to understand that mediumship is an act of kindness. It's an act of love. It's an act of generosity. It's an act of giving. That's what mediumship is, and that's why it is that mediums can't be for themselves. So mediums tell me they can. I can say that does not happen, but enough for me personally, and many mediums I speak to, very few of them can read for themselves. Very few, very few. In fact, truthfully, I have not any that can. To be fair, that's the only way I can put it. Marie's saying that's so true. Never mind what we think we want. Trust the spirit world. That's right. We all think that we know what we want, but the spirit world, they've got other ideas. Honest to God, they have. Ginger saying expectations stop the communications too. Right, that's exactly right, Ginger. Right, my energy is very low. Lots and lots of stress all over the years. Thank you for answering my questions. No bother, Deb. Deb says, are there any videos I can follow for self-development? For many years, I felt that there's some dark force that follows me and curse. Right. Well, again, you need to take a look where your mind is. You are what I call flying on a low-flying disc. So we have low-flying disc, which is negativity, depression, anxiety, stress, which is where your energy is out of alignment. It means that the conscious mind is running rampant. Then we have the high-flying disc, which is where we're standing on positivity, kindness, generosity, which means you're in alignment with who you really are, which means the subconscious is in play. Now, conscious mind is always going to run more rampant. This is why we're bringing sitting in the power of meditation. It helps you to quieten the mind to be able to come into alignment with who you truly are, which is your soul. Now, not everybody's going to like what they see in there, Deb. They're not. But you've got to remember, none of us are perfect. Each and every one of us have all made mistakes, and all of us have done something that's not right. So what I want to say to you is you need to get you into meditation. So we want awareness meditations for you. We don't want development, we don't want relaxation, we want awareness. So we want to become aware of who you are. I have a sitting and power technique on the channel. If you inbox the Facebook page, or if you're with Facebook, I will send that to you. Try it out for 10 days. Also, positive affirmance. I am kindness, I am happy, I am grateful, I am humble. Lots of people won't do these because they're too much like hard work, but they're very beneficial. Again, another side of self-development, another side of your spiritual practicing, another side of learning to be aware of who you are. They are just some of the things that can happen to you. There is no dark energy in the spirit world. We were talking earlier about that actually. There's no such thing as demonics. There's no such thing as bad people. This is another one I hear massively about, and I nearly had a row with somebody yesterday about that now. There's no bad people in the spirit world. I spoke about this. Thou shalt go, oh God Almighty. Right, we'll just take that offensive language off my channel. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. Right, so I was with Deb. There's no such thing as bad people. There is, again, so, here's the daughter's driving thing. Bless her little heart. Anyway, right, so for example, here's life, right, the CD. Life is perfect in every way, right, perfect, no scratches, no nothing. So when you come from the spirit world, you're perfect in every way, right, everything about you is perfect. Now, we go through life, and life sort of has a few dints in and a few sort of, challenges and stuff. So we might get a couple of marks, but it doesn't affect the CD in any way, all right? But what happens is we may then get some quite nasty ones, which might leave a mark or two on the CD. Now, there's still nothing wrong with the CD. Still perfect in every way, right? It's not broken, it's not smashed. It can still, still perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. The only issue is it's got some lines and things on it. Now, as we go through life and as we sort of do positive affirmance and look more at the shadow side of us and this, that and the other, we could get CD cleaner, clean it, and a lot of this will disappear. And even the most roughest of ones will be able to be filled in enough so that you can still keep playing the CD. And that's life. And that's what you need to understand is that this is and you are perfect. Therefore, when you go back to the spirit world, you're still the same way. You're perfect. All that goes back is the vibrations of who you were, the memories and personality of who you were when you were here to the earth plane. Because remember, energy, when you understand how memories are made through eyes. They're either made through seeing, hearing, feeling, touching, smelling. Right? That's how memories are made. when we make memories, it's when the good memories are bad memories. So it could be maybe the holiday you had with mum and dad when you were 2, the moors. Then again, it could be another memory of when you were in your 20s and you and some woman had a row in a bar. It's all because there's interaction of energy, which is then stored. Every memory, everything that's done down here is stored out there, in here, in your body. Everything you've ever done in your whole entire life is stored in here. Some is accessible, some is not. Some can be read by psychics, some cannot. But everything is energy, and everything, every vibration, every memory, everything you've ever done is stored within the CD. And this CD, this soul, goes back to the spirit world with the vibrations, so that when you come to have readings, or when your loved ones come to have readings, all this is accessible, good, bad, or indifferent. Doesn't mean that this is broken, just means that it's accessible. And this is what people say about bad people. How can people be bad people if the soul's perfect? Do you understand that? Yes, it's got dints and ridges and stuff like that. So say I rob from a shop. Does that make me a bad person, or did I just make bad life choices? Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? Even them who are rapists and paedophiles and this, as much as I know they do extremely harmful things, that they've just made bad life choices. It's not that the soul's damaged anyway, it's just that they didn't do the right thing, or the right thing for society. Do you understand that? To them it probably seems right, and I'm not sticking up for them here or anything, please don't say it, think that. But you have to understand the bigger picture, you have to think more with your mind about, and then when people talk to me about bad people, I think, well, how can they possibly be bad? It's perfect, it's solid, the soul's solid, there's nothing wrong with it. It's solid in every way. Do you understand? So I hope that makes sense to you. How can you tell about the Acacia records? Again, so that leads quite nicely onto this. So Acacia records is the memories, the Acacia records aren't just this lifetime. Most of us have been reincarnated at least a few times. I've been doing here a few times, sort of learning lessons, gaining knowledge, taking it back to the spirit world. Acacia records sort of holds all that, sort of documentates it all. Again, it's all in memories, or all in, they call it records. Again, it's a file, it's labeling, really is the best way to put it, right? It's a labeling. But all it is just accessing the energy of the things that you did within your past life, the things that you maybe have done now, the things that, you're meant to have done but you maybe missed, because we might not get round to doing everything we're meant to do down here, because again, we have free will, and we can and do get off on tangents, and we can and do all sorts of weird and wonderful things down here. While the spirit will have that plan, and they want you to fulfill that plan to the best of your ability, they have to accept and understand that you have free will, and that your mind will always be in control in some way, shape or form. So I hope that answers your question. No bother. It's alright, there's just some crazy person making crazy things. Behaviour is separate from person. That's right, Ginger. You've got it. You've got it in one. Behaviour and person, so soul, behaviour is two completely different things. It does not change. The person is a person. The soul is the soul. The only thing is that the behaviour is different, which is done by emotions. Emotions is one of the weirdest things, I've met people do weird and wonderful things anyway. Hi to everybody who's just saying hi. It's all good, it's been removed, got a feeling through the video or something. That's something it wasn't. Marcus is saying, all good, it's been removed, got a feeling right. Yep, anyway. What about the people they have heard though, Dan? Right. Now this leads nicely back on to my video that I did today, funny enough, about people who've gone to the spirit world sooner than what they were expected. What we have to understand is that each and every one of us down here are learning lessons in every capacity. And what we have to understand is that, and I love this thought really, I love this thought. The thought that was given to me from the spirit world is before we all come here, we all pick what mummies and daddies pick their children, what children pick their mummies and daddies, right? So when we all decide up there, because I've talked about this for years, what we have to understand is each and every one of us, before we even, right, have children, there is a thought behind the back of that before the action. Everything's a thought before it becomes an action. So therefore, before we even make children, there's a thought behind it. So we thought about, maybe starting a family, or we've thought about, we would maybe like to take that relationship to the next level. So there's always a thought behind that. So what you have to remember is that mummies and daddies pick children, and children pick the mummies and daddies. Now, a lot of people would say, well, why would they want to do this? Why would they want to do that? Why would they want to do this? Etc., etc., etc. I can't get into, psychopaths and children who murder and stuff, because I'm not a doctor. I can only explain it from how the spirit world give it to me. But what you have to understand is that inside of these families, there's still mums and dads and other siblings and that, who all have lessons of their own to learn as well. So when something quite tragic happens, i.e., certain dads are a certain way, or mums are a certain way, they maybe, have an issue with alcohol or drugs or whatever here, or we lose somebody quite early on, or we lose children, or, what you have to understand is there's a learning lesson in there as well. They have to understand, they have to accept and look at things from a different viewpoint. So for everything that's done down here, there's always a lesson, there's always another understanding, not only of the people who do these horrific crimes, because I'm not saying they're not horrific, because they are, but also there's a learning behind the back of that, the bigger picture, the evolution, the soul, the universe, the consciousness. There's everything's in time, everything's within the natural law, everything's working in harmony, good, bad, or indifferent. It's just that us down here label it and say it is horrendous crimes, these types of things. And while you are horrendous crimes, I'm not saying they're not. There's always a bigger backdrop, there's a bigger story to it, there's a bigger understanding, not only on the one soul level, but all soul levels, because where it affects one, it affects not. So even take like a high profile case, and it's spread right across the country because of one high profile case. What will then in turn is affect thousands of minds in every way, shape and form, whether they change the way they parent, they do something a little different, whatever it may be. There is always a bigger knock-on effect, or the bigger learning effect, or there's new laws that come in because of it, or there's new understanding of mental health. There's always a bigger picture. Do you understand? It's not just the act. The act is horrendous. I'm not disputing that. Hi Danielle. Hiya Vicky, my darling. I hope you're well. There's a bigger concept, or a bigger understanding. There's a bigger there's revolution. There's something changeable. There's something tangible. There's something. And what you have to understand is when such serious things go on, as much as I don't really like saying this, when they go on, something changes, something gives, something new becomes of it, something different happens, so we grow. Do you understand that? Do you understand? And where we understand this, what my guys were trying to get over in that video today, it's like, yes, that they understand the pain, they get that, but the revolution, or the learning that comes from that is far larger and far more extensive and far more expansive than just that one person or just that particular individual. So I hope that answers your question a little bit there. How come I used to smell my dog when she first went over, now I can't? What tends to happen there is, Del, is that when we're first working, but when people tend to first go over, because we're still sort of in the grief stages, we miss that parent, or we miss that animal, or we miss these things. We still become very aware of them, or we still know that they're there. So it's just a natural progression. As you become more and more aware that they're not going to be there, that will then ease off, and that will eventually just slip away. It's just a natural progression of grief, really. It's where people say to me, I feel my son really close around with, but now, Danielle, I don't really feel them at all. And it's just a natural progression of the grief, because grief's in many different stages. And when we first obviously lose somebody, grief's heightened to massively high sensitivity. We're questioning where they are, if they're okay, these types of things. But as we become more and more acceptant of grief, grief takes many years. Some people never completely get over the loss of a loved one, and everybody's moving at a different pace. But every one of us will move forward. Every one of us will will come to accept it in some capacity, even if it's not in their capacity, but they will all accept it. But in essence, it's just grief in the fact that at one point they were very close to you, but as you become to understand and accept, eventually it has come to be just as it is. So I hope I answered the question a little bit there for you. Some people end up committing suicide because they can't cope, and that happens with that's what happens to them. That's not a good lesson. It's not for you to understand that lesson. It's their lesson to understand. It's their family to learn that lesson. It's for them to understand. And it's not, this is what I talk about, our journey is our own. Nobody will ever understand your path because your path is yours. It's unique to you. My path's unique to me. You know, Vicky's is unique to her. Marcus is unique to him. You know what I mean? Everybody's is unique in every way because every path, there is no two paths the same down here. You're going to look at me a bit weird, wonderful, what do you mean by that, right, Danielle? Well, exactly what it means. How many people walk the same path? Some will walk very similar paths, but never the same path. Why? Because that path is that path. That is that person's path. That is what's being put on that path for that person. And who are we? We do not understand that path, and we can't judge that path because we do not walk that path. So I hope that answers your question a little bit there for you as well. I have light bulbs exploded, my telly switch on, full volume in the middle of the night since my dad passed. Quite scary, but could this be injuries? Yeah. You know, spirit world are very good when it comes to totally agree with you. Yeah. Energy can be manipulated in many, many ways. What happens to those who commit suicide? Do they still pull out? Of course. Of course. And this is what I was just talking about before. Lots and lots of people have this concept that they need healing. Again, the soul is perfect. It doesn't need healing. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the life choices in which that particular individual made. That doesn't make them a bad person, or that they shouldn't go to the spirit world, or they're not allowed to go to the spirit world, or they're in some holding pen, or they need healing. What do they need healing for? The soul is perfect. Do you know what I mean? It's the only problem is that there was an issue with the physical body, with the physical mind. The physical mind doesn't go to the spirit world. It stays here to the earth. It's only, again, behaviours. Remember, it's behaviours. It's not the person. There's nothing wrong with the person, the soul. It's the behaviours of the mind that makes the mind do interesting things. And the soul cannot get involved in that because the soul isn't in part of the behaviour. The soul is here to learn lessons. Do you understand? Right, let's have a look. Thank you very much. Right, getting to Deb's question, she was talking about light bulbs and tellies and things. Yeah, because the energy can be manipulated. Energy, if you understand, you know, trance work, if you understand physical work, materialization work, the mind manipulates energy to manipulate with the bodily fluids in order to be able to produce ectoplasm, which is then full materialization of the spirit world, which I've seen and I've experienced, and hands coming out of cabinets and, you know, all these types of things. I've talked about these things before. So I'll push that camera back a bit. So why couldn't the spirit world play with light switch? Why couldn't they turn the telly on? Why couldn't they, if they want your attention enough? Yeah, I don't see why not. I've seen all sorts of stuff going on about. I've seen all sorts going on, from table tilting to, you know, objects moving around the room, trumpets. You know, I've seen a seat gone from one side of the room to the other side of the room. There's no reason why them things cannot go on, Deb. The spirit world are kind of clued up like that when they want to be. It causes an awful lot of energy, I will give it that, but they can and will do it if need be. So yes, is that in short your question? Yeah. What happens to those who commit suicide? I already answered that question. It's a hard life. We all have hard lessons to learn. That's right, Debs. I would definitely agree with that one. What don't break you make you stronger. I would agree to that as well. What about those who had a traumatic death? Sorry, I've missed. For those who have a traumatic death, again, it's instantaneously. They will go to the spirit world straight away. So there's no questions or answers in respect to that. Remember, this is what my guides were saying to me today. We all are in agreement of when we go back to the spirit world, because we all have the lessons to learn down here. Once them lessons are learned, then it's time for us to go back to the spirit world. So each and every one of us go back to the spirit world when the time is right, or when we've learned all we need to learn down here, in order so that we can continue to grow and evolve and keep moving in the spirit world. Traumatic deaths, again, there is nothing wrong. It's just the way they passed. Again, there's nothing wrong with the soul, so the soul doesn't need healing because there's nothing wrong with it. Does this mean I can't get this over to you strongly enough? Nothing can need healing because there's nothing wrong with it. It's solid. It's clear. It's dandy. There's nothing wrong with it. So what you have to understand is that it even traumatically, whether they took theirs through passing of their own lives, whether whatever it may be, it's perfect in every way. This CD's gonna get some whopping tonight, I think. So there is no issues of problems. Again, no passing. They don't need healing because there's nothing wrong with the soul. The soul is fine in every way. It's just that they've taken their transition in a different way, other than those who passed in a bed, or those who passed the hospital bed, or those who, were found in a chair, whatever it may be there. That's all it is. So I hope I answered the question. I'll be there for you, Vicky. Is it possible to have an animal as your guide? So we're calling them animal totems. Great question. So one that hasn't been asked to me. So each and every one of us all accept and understand or think that guides come in human form. Now you're going to be looking at me a little strange here. I know you are. So animals are not, or humans, when we work with guides, not all of them come in human form. They come in, if you keep swinging that disco around, it will be damaged. I got a good point there, Marcus. Yes, we do have animals who will work with us, i.e., for example, me personally, I work with a white eagle. I have a white eagle that works with me. And has done ever since I started my mediumship. Why? I don't know. That's just the way it has done for me. So what I want to say to you there is yes, Del, that is always possible. Yes, there is always animals who will work with us. And you've got to remember that energy is manipulated in different ways. Remember, it's how you perceive the energy, how your mind's going to work with that energy, how that energy is presented to you with your mind will then in turn be how you perceive it. But yes, in short, can animals be one of your guides? Yeah, we call them spirit totems. So yes, that's the answer to your question. Danielle, question. I went to the park the other day, right? Do you have a nice time? And I came over and had a little pressure on the top of my head. And when I left, it lifted off the feeling. What do you mean the spirit world were making you feel like that? Well, I don't know. Have you been communicating with the spirit world? That has to be my question first and foremost to you, Deb. Let me know on that one. I need to dig a little deeper on that one. Exactly. So there's people who suffer quite a lot and battle on through various different illnesses and then lose their battle anyway. And then there's others who take, they go to the spirit world in other ways. And this is what I'm saying to you, Deb. Them that go, in that way, it's just the way that it was meant to be and how it was meant to be. And so that the families also have to learn the experiences from that as well. And I know lots of people, Deb, who, I'll take my best friend for example. My best friend's mum, she's only 28, my best friend, and her mum died last year, a year, the anniversary was last month actually, a year gone August. And she's now gone back to college and is now trained to be a mental health nurse because our mother suffered massively with mental health problems. Do you see what I'm trying to say to you? So from the loss, my friend is now trained to be a nurse to help them who need more help. Do you understand? You see that the what happens, the what we call the bigger consciousness, the universe, they're slotting in, if that makes sense. And people only see the one thing, it's the loss of this loved one and how am I ever going to get over it? And nobody ever truly gets over the loss of a loved one. We just learn to manage grief. But what they don't say is the bigger impact it has, the bigger things that it does. I know lots of people who've lost people tragically, like car accidents and things like that, do massive amounts of work for charity, raise loads of money for charity, and all these types of things. So there's a bigger consciousness, there's a bigger evolution than just that one thing. Let's have a look. If I keep swinging that disco, I will, sure did. Yeah, Ginger saying when the body suffers, the soul grows the most. That's exactly right. Only through the hard times do we learn the most. I would agree to that, like Ginger, definitely. Can you have a past loved one, animal, human as a guardian angel? You can have a past loved one or a animal as a helper. Yes, is the answer to the question. Not a guardian angel. Everybody has a guardian angel from the minute they come from the spirit world, when they're born, to the minute they go back to the spirit world. You may not know that guardian angel's there. You may not even know who they are, but they will be there. Each and every one of us have one of them. Pressure on the head, yeah, but the question to you is, Deb, have you been working for the spirit world? Have you been doing something over there? Have you been doing readings or whatever? Let me know. So, do we choose how we die before we get here as part of the soul contract, I mean? Yes. I mean, I'm a big believer in soul contracts, and I do believe from what my people tell me that there is an element of soul contract, whether we're how many children we have, to how many children we keep, to, you know, what kind of lifestyle we live. Remember, we've always got free will here, but there is always sort of a set intention, set plan, set lesson, set learned thing that we're all doing down here. Each and every one of us are down here learning in every capacity. And so I said to my people, I said, right then, I said, so why is it that, like, not everybody's like Dean Ali's lessons? This is because not everybody's switched on, tuned in, tapped in. That's what they say to me. So some people will get it, and normally what happens is most people start to become aware of lessons or that something's going on when we start losing people. So we start losing people, or certain things start happening, or we have a major sort of transformational moment, you know, near-death experience, these types of things, which like switches you on to the fact that there's something more going on here than just your day-to-day grind or your day-to-day life. Does that make sense? So that's only when it happens. No, I haven't. I just felt it with the pressure on my head, and I felt like it before. Just come. Well, is it only at the park? Is it only at that park, Debs? I'm just having a word. Right, Deb, are you moving your mind when you're walking? Like, i.e., you're thinking about the spirit world, or you're sort of thinking about bits and pieces? You didn't see me thinking there. I was waiting for him. Does that make sense? Don't know why. No, my question to you is are you thinking about the spirit world sometimes when you're, you know, walking around and that? In the park and stuff? Do you know, what are you doing? What do I teach you? What are you doing? You're walking yourself off to the spirit world. That's why you're picking up the pressure. What you're doing is as you're moving your mind, yes, Danielle. Well, then you're moving your mind, which means you're linking to the spirit world. What are thoughts? What are thoughts? Living things. And if you're moving if you're thinking of the spirit world, what are you doing? You're walking yourself over to the what? Spirit world. Try to keep your mind here, not over there. Alright, when you're in the park. I understand that you want to think about the spirit world and all the rest of it, but you're moving your mind. Alright? Let's have a look. So Vicky's saying, do those who cause serious crimes such as death, i.e. serial killers, yeah, do they have retribution or something like that when they die? Because have you ever spoken to someone similar? Sorry for the very dark question. No, it's not a dark question, it's just a normal question. I've got to be honest with you, I haven't spoken to anybody like that, so I couldn't really get the answers to that. Retribution, no soul, every soul has the ability to be able to continue to keep moving forward in the spirit world if it chooses to accept and understand that the behaviours it did down here was not always true, right and accurate. So, or it had an effect upon another human, even if that effect was warranted, or that effect would then carry on to be able to do different effects. It has to also be understood that, you know, it's not very good what it does. But it will and always move forward if it chooses to. Again, free will. You have free will down here, free will up there. It's up to it how much it moves forward and how much it doesn't move forward. But in essence, to retribution, I think you're talking more about the fact that the soul continues to live on, or the fact it has continual existence, and open to learning and growing in every capacity. So in answer to your question, yes, all of them have the potential to be able to move forward, yes, and all of them have the opportunity to be able to develop and understand that, you know, once them lessons have been learned, they cannot and will not be allowed to go on again. So I hope that probably answers your questions there from you. Deb's I've got a load of yeses and no's and could be's and maybes and all the rest of it. Any other questions? I'm clamouring for a cup of tea. Oh, please do like the video, please, as Marcus tells me it makes it gone places. I don't know what it makes it does. Marcus, you must spend loads of time over here on YouTube. More time than me. Does that make sense, Vicky? Anybody not understand what I've said to them, or anything that you'd like me to recap on? Abby? Put the kettle on. I need a cup of tea. Hey, Vicky, how did you know that? How did you know she was down there? I didn't even know she was there. Danielle, there's a lot of spirit. Well, it will be if you're moving your mind, because you have to understand you can't find the spirit world unless you're looking for it. You've got to be looking for the spirit world in order for the spirit world to show up. This is what I say to people. People are like, no, Danielle, the spirit world, the spirit world's here every day, around and about us. It's all we're doing is moving the mind through the thought-based matter. Yes, inbox me over Facebook, Deb, I'll get them to you. What you have to understand is that the spirit world's around about us every day and wants to communicate every day. So what happens is with the mind, because the spirit world's born on thought-based matter, where you have to be thinking of the spirit world, or you have to be thinking about your loved ones in the spirit world, which then in turn moves your mind, which makes you aware of another consciousness that is not of this world, but that has to be done through a thought-based matter. It has to be through a shift of the consciousness. Again, through self-development, through sitting in the power, will get you a better understanding of that movement of the mind through the thought-based matter. So if you're out there thinking about the spirit world, what you're doing is you're tuning in, switching on, tapping in. And what you have to do is learn to be aware that when you're here to the earth, that's all you should be thinking about, your earthly things, not the spirit world, not what, you know, where your loved ones are, or, you know, for them who are doing demonstrations and sitting and stuff like that. The biggest question I get from all of you is, are all these videos on here too? Yes, Deb, all the videos is here on this channel. Check it out. What you have to understand is that every time you're moving your mind, you're connecting to the spirit world, and of course they're going to want to come forward, and of course they're going to want to connect, especially if you're sitting in front of their loved ones, because they use the intelligence. They're going to come to you. They're going to want to work with you. I'm a northern intuition. Somebody was taking the mick out of my northern accent. Are these not and saying I talk over fast? I've heard that before. It's a knee worries to me, that one. Yeah, everything's in the video. I am going to be doing another sitting in the power technique, but it's on awareness. That will be going up on Friday as well. I've changed their lamps, right? So the lamps are like behind us, but they're like up on the ceiling, because when they bleach on me, I'm red hot. I'm absolutely red hot. Any other questions from you, lovely, lovely lot? No way. Get out time. Get out time, really. Doesn't bother me. I'm proud of my northern roots. I am. I'm proud of who I am. that's done, I'm going to leave all that with you. I'm going to meditate as soon as I say goodnight on here. That's what, not for me, Danielle. Thanks, no bother. Right, please do like this video before you all dash. I will certainly see you all in a fortnight's time, if not before. A new video is going up on Friday, so certainly check that out as well. Please do like, share, subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, please do invite your friends to the channel, get them to subscribe and all. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been, I've enjoyed having this chat with you. Hopefully I'll see you all again next time, and have yourselves a great evening, won't you? Alright, take care of yourselves, watch how you go, alright? Bye for now. Bye.